Well, after the new Omicron variant started spreading like wildfire, my son and I quickly realized that hockey would likely get shut down again, at least for a certain amount of time, this winter. So, during a final warm spell, we dragged out the boards for our backyard hockey rink and started reassembling it. Now, fortunately, I used a couple of tricks to make reassembling our rink quick and easy, and I'm going to share these tricks with you today. Let's get into it. There are a few things you can do to set yourself up for success when reassembling a do-it-yourself backyard skating rink. One of those things would be to cut your grass so you can more easily see the outline your rink left in the ground from the previous winter. Moreover, you'll invariably find that locating all of the holes for your support posts will be a lot easier too. But here's the main tip I want to share with you. When you're disassembling your rink in the spring, get out a big black marker and number all of your support boards in sequence. You can see I started at the corner where we had the door to our rink, and then I numbered them clockwise, starting with board number 1, 2, 3, 4. Then when I got to the double boards, I'd number them 5-1 and 5-2. You don't need any letters. I thought I would experiment with something, but I didn't need it. Then 6-1, 6-2, on up to 10-1 and 10-2, and then back to the single boards, number 11, and ending with board number 12, back at the shallow end. Now, I wasn't as mindful when dealing with my lights, and I actually forgot to number these when I took them down. I largely left each light post intact, but I disassembled them enough that it wasn't always obvious which corner each light belonged in. Nonetheless, after swapping various support ties and lining up screw holes, I got each light back where it belonged. So the numbering system really helped us quickly get each board back in its original position. After that, it was pretty much just a matter of finding the holes that were made in the ground last year when pounding in the supports for the boards. Even though I didn't get around to cutting our grass, we were able to locate those holes by poking around the grass with a narrow stake. The stake would of course sink deep into the ground whenever we found a hole, so I didn't actually need to pound in any new holes in the lawn to re-establish our backyard rink. It was a pretty windy day, but we managed to get the main boards back in place in just a couple of hours, and we only lost one of our solar-powered lights in the process. After we got the lights up, we freed the rink liner from the plastic garbage bag that had been housing it under our deck all summer. Being a rabid environmentalist who saves all of the single-use plastic bags that we bring home until I can figure out a truly effective way to recycle them, it was a real struggle for me to buy this huge piece of plastic. But I rationalized it by buying a pretty heavy-duty liner that I figured would last several winters. More on that in a subsequent video. After we got the liner unfolded and clamped in place, I remembered that I still had to put my 3 support struts in at the deep end of the rink. Here's a view of the support struts from the spring when we were tearing the rink down. You can't see this because of the long grass, but each strut is bolstered by a stake set deep in the ground. Here's a view of the struts in the winter, and you can see that I've added extra support for one of the struts at the top as well. It's really important to get these struts in place at the deep end of your rink because water is a funny thing. It's self-supporting when it's frozen, but while it's liquid, its fluidity essentially means that all of its weight is against the boards at the deep end. Even the water in the shallow end is exerting force against the boards at the deep end. Not to mention that the water at the deep end can be pretty darn deep. My deep end is around 17 inches deep, So we definitely don't want that water going anywhere while it's still in the process of freezing solid. But that will be the subject of the next video in this series. Hey, if you liked this video, then go ahead and click that like button. Leave me any questions or comments you might have, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything going forward.